Welcome to 6 Feet Podcast. I am your host, DJ Pope. It is good to have you here with us today. We're excited about our show. We've got Ben off screen as always. Say hi, Ben.
Howdy.
Ben is chatting with you live on either YouTube Live or Facebook Live. We are pushing out to both of those locations, so if you want to chat back and forth with Ben, don't be afraid to do so. Don't forget also that you can put all the questions that you may have in those comments. If we don't get to them today, then we'll put them in our question bank and answer them at another time. Also, feel free to comment on our topic today, any questions that you may have, and Ben is going to handle all the back and forth on that. We've got, what's the other thing we've got going on? Don't forget to go to our website, all right, 6feetpod.com. We've got our merch there. You can buy shirts, all that good stuff. Hey, go to the Ben cam again. Ben's got his shirt on today, all right? You can
Can't see it.
Yeah, you got it, the hashtag I voted for Ben shirt. You can buy those. We got a few other things. Just look and see what's on there. All right, see what you like.
It's worth the money.
It's worth the money. That's right. Buy
all
stuff.
All proceeds.
I don't think so. They support 6 Feet Podcast and help us continue to move on. Let's see. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. All right, at 6 Feet Pod. You can see all the different ways to connect with us. Follow us on Facebook. You can also subscribe if you found yourself here by accident. Just hit the subscribe button and then set your reminder, and you can see us live every Sunday at 4:30. And also, don't forget you can download our podcast audio only and take it with you on the go. You can get it from Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, or TuneIn as well.
Anywhere you can think of.
We are available.
We are.
And we are begging you to download our stuff.
Who's that guy next to you?
Oh, sorry. So coming with us this week is our special guest, Jacob.
A special guest, you mean
Smith.
co-host. Thank you.
All right.
Special
We got a
co-host.
Special guest with us today.
Very special host this week is me, and I'm glad to be here. It's always a pleasure. I'm such a huge part of what makes this show great.
Well, so moving on. So if you've noticed the last couple of weeks, we have we've had some special competitions. Okay, I think we've all split one thus far. Everybody has won one. So last week we talked about cities. The week before that we had
Ben hasn't won any though, right? Am I
won one.
Am I wrong?
Pretty sure I've won one.
I think he won one. Yeah, well he. So in our competitions, Ben keeps score and is somewhat the referee until we override them. Libby keeps the real score in the back,
Sure.
but we go with Ben's usually. And so this week we are going to do desserts, okay? And so as many times as we can put a dessert into a sentence or use it in a phrase, we get a point.
That's a tough one.
And Ben uses tally marks to keep that score. Extremely official stuff. And
We need you to keep him accountable.
very much
need
so.
you.
Very
Those
much
numbers.
so. And please
Uncle
don't
Sam.
feed him desserts such as ice
Nope.
cream sundaes
No.
in
That's
the
not. I don't count that.
in the
I don't
chat.
count
All right,
that.
don't
No.
feed
Don't you dare mark it,
into
Ben.
his-
Don't you dare.
I'm not marking it. Don't worry.
do not give Ben answers. All right, is what I was
didn't
trying to
mark
say.
that.
Wow.
So
I'm gonna squish this like a s'more and throw it in the trash because one of those s'mores that the marshmallow kind of got in the dirt a little bit and it got a little bit of twigs on the side. and
marshmallow does not count
throw-
as just a dessert.
You throw that away.
All right.
No, you know what I want? I want some
You
more
would have to-
marshmallows.
You'd have to put a marshmallow in a s'more.
Some more.
No.
I don't know
No.
why you're looking at me with that face. man. I didn't get it. You said s'more
I
marshmallows.
want some more.
Oh,
S'mores.
Yeah.
How can I have s'more of something if I haven't had anything yet?
Yeah. That doesn't make
well,
sense. What did you have in? Yeah.
All right. Well, so today, So that's what we got lined up. All right, we got our competition. So be on the lookout for that. Be listening for all the desserts that we're going to try to throw in here today. And you at home, keep up with the winner yourself, and make sure that you comment in there if there's any discrepancy, especially if Ben wins. Okay. Other than that, let's get into our topic today. We have got our topic. All right. So our topic today, we've talked about this week, and the idea is lead small, okay? Lead, L-E-A-D, small.
Not Lee Small,
Yeah.
the person.
As Kel was confused earlier and thought we were bringing a person on named Lee Smalls, okay? And so it is lead small, and the idea behind it is, okay, so when you're starting out, a lot of times you have the view of, like, you're looking at the top of the mountain. All right, and that's where I want to get, and that's where I want to go. And when I get there one day, when I get where I'm going, then everything is going to be good. And when I get to that moment, and all of a sudden we forget about the whole journey that it's going to take to get there, and it's just looking at the big accomplishment or the big thing down the road. And a lot of times I feel like we forget to worry about the small things that have to be taken care of in order to get there. And I think in leadership, we have the same thing. And a lot of times what we do is we look at the big picture, or I'm the boss, or I want to give the big vision, and then we can't handle the variables or the small things that it's going to take to accomplish that.
Yeah, I think it's good to have mentors and people that you look up to, but we lift up the greatest people at everything, and we analyze them and try to mimic what they're doing after they're already the greatest, which sometimes there is good practices there, but sometimes what you have to do to become great isn't necessarily what you do after you become great.
And it's usually not the fun stuff that you get. Well, and even those people that we would call quote unquote great, they'll tell you they didn't always know that they were going to be great, and many times it was the little things that they did well that created the name that we remember later on. And so,
sure, and the spaces that they operate in, typically, that's what's always tough, is to convince someone that it starts there. Like
right?
This room, somebody might have looked at this room 6 months ago and just saw an empty space that couldn't become anything, and now all of a sudden it's a full studio.
Yeah.
So using your resources at hand to make where you're at as good as you possibly can.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I can remember when I was not a youth pastor, and thinking that, one day I'm going to be a youth pastor, and man, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, or this guy doesn't know what I'm going to do better than this one day. And I can remember not realizing all of the small things that they had to deal with or take care of or worry about, and then now knowing it and thinking, wow, they really had a journey that they were going through and things that I didn't understand. And you don't know that sometimes until you actually get to that point. And a lot of times when you get to that point, you no longer view yourself as on the mountaintop anymore. It's like, okay, well, what's the next big thing? And too many times we can constantly look ahead rather than enjoying and taking care of the things that are in our path. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like definitely by looking at like other people that are, the best at something or whatever, like that, they're just, you can't beat them. There's no achievable goal there. So I feel like it's important to like kind of moderate who you're like looking at necessarily, like try to understand how they got there and how that, how you can also get there.
Ben, do you find yourself doing that a lot? I mean, if you didn't know, Ben's a young guy, all right?
I am a young guy.
And so, do you constantly find yourself looking, okay, well, when I get to that point, or when I get in the future at this moment, then everything's going to be better, or something along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, it's like when I get a job, I'll be able to do this or that, but then you wind up not having any time to do this or that because you do have that job, and so then it's like, it's just a challenge every time you get to that new stage of life.
Because you create a new stage.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, you make more stuff that you don't have to do, but then you have to do it.
Right. So the idea with the topic today is handling the small things well, concentrating on the small things. I read a book by someone. It's called what is it called? Sun Stand Still. It's actually by Stephen Furtick. Now, not my most favorite person to necessarily follow any longer, but when he wrote the book, it was a pretty good book. And so in there he has a quote, and I've always liked the quote. It was told to me by Pastor Philip Hickman when I was a member at Northwest Baptist, and it says in there, it says that small acts of obedience lead to big movements of God. And so basically taking care of those small things, doing the things that you can control, lead to bigger opportunities and bigger things down the road. But handling the small things well is what's going to allow your path to open up and give you opportunity. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something I've seen over and over again throughout my life, particularly starting in the military. Whenever you learn pretty early on that the smallest act all the way to the biggest act is kind of equally important. We worked on boats, and you would get tired of doing the monotonous day-to-day maintenance and, putting together line and stuff like that. Just the little things that you have to do every day that become really mundane.
Very monotonous over and over. Kind of like when you go to like a Chinese buffet and they only have vanilla ice cream over and over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing like that. But it continues to be reinforced. Like, you get to see real-time reinforcement of that idea whenever you go out on a search and rescue case or something like that, and then you need that thing, and it becomes the most important thing at that moment.
Like as you do the job more, you realize how important it is to do those small things in the beginning, that prep work.
Yeah,
to do that right, because it might save someone's life or whatever in the future.
Yeah, I was lucky to see that up close, because I guess if you work in an office or something like that, it probably, you don't get to see everyday examples of how important those little things are. You just kind of are told to do them, and so you continue to do them, and maybe you
slack off.
Yeah, maybe you kind of over time do it quicker and learn ways to kind of make it less important, but it is very important, and it basically creates the big picture, those little tiny things.
Well, I love sports references. You know that. Lou Holtz, I read that when he took over at Notre Dame and started coaching them and turning them into, what would be a really good couple of years that he would lead them. But he actually came in and he started with their huddle. And so the way that they lined up, where everyone was at in the huddle, they would just get in a circle, no discipline, no kind of synchronization whatsoever. Then he put them and actually drew out a diagram of how they were going to go into the huddle, how they would break from the huddle. And if they didn't break correctly, he'd bring them all back and make them do it again. And you'd think a huddle, you're just telling a play and then you're going, but it was all those small details that he believed taught discipline and how they were going to execute things. And so if you care about those small things, then you'll care about the things during the game as well, and all those tiny things that lead up to victory or something big happening. And so I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of like whenever you get like a good key lime pie, a la mode. I'm talking ice cream on the side, and that lime is on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have you ever had one with the lime actually
I'm not
on
a
there?
big ice cream and key lime pie at the
that
same
might
time.
not
That doesn't
seem
make much sense.
the lime probably doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but whenever it's on there as a garnishment, it really pulls the dish together.
Yeah, it's like you have the ice cream sundae, and it's that cherry on top.
I don't
that you
know.
put on there. That just,
I don't know. I
that
feel
makes,
like
that makes it iconic.
I really went all the way to the bottom of that idea, and I think basically no other dessert will really describe it like the key lime pie just did. So probably it ends at my dessert choice.
Okay, all right. Well, so our topic brings me to two instances actually in Scripture that I can think of. Matthew 25, we see the parable of the 10 talents. All right. And the idea here that I see is that you have 3 servants, and they all get an extra measurement of money to invest. All right, you get the one guy who gets, in Matthew 25, you get one guy that gets 5 measures of money, talents, okay? Then you got one that gets 2 and one that gets 1. Well, while the master is gone, he said, hey, here's my money, invest it. Basically, do your best to risk it and get some back. Well, one guy takes 5, he invests it, he gets 5 more back, so he doubles the money. The next guy does the same thing, takes the 2, invests the 2, gets double back. Then you get one guy who's a little bit worried about if he does lose it, if he risks it and he loses it, and he goes and buries the money so that he doesn't risk this one talent.
It's a safe bet.
Safe
Can't
bet.
lose none, can't win none.
Yeah, no, I'm not risking anything. And so the master comes back. He brings the 3 servants before him. The first guy says, hey, I took your 5, I made it 5 more. I've got 10 now. The other guy says, hey, I took your 2, made it 2 more. I got 4 now. And the other guy says, hey, listen, I knew that you were pretty rough with people losing your stuff, so I buried it.
I didn't lose it.
Here it is, and he gives it back to him.
And poor guy.
Yeah, and the master tells the first 2, well done, good and faithful servant. Because you've been faithful in little or in a few things, I'll now give you more, or I'll give you more to rule. Is in the correlation is the kingdom of heaven and how it would be set up. And so the idea here is in the small things that you've been given responsibility over, to be faithful in those things, to then receive more responsibility later. I mean, no point in time do we have those responsibilities, or responsible in those small things, so that one day we can get lazy and slothful in the way that we carry ourselves. No, it's to add more to our plate, to get more opportunity to do more for the kingdom. And what we see with the first 2 servants is they say, okay, I'm going to take this, I'm going to risk it. There's a chance I might lose it, but I'm going to give it everything I've got in the small things that I've already been given. But then, of course, the wicked servant,
The third servant, he didn't just get fired.
He got thrown out of the kingdom. All right, and so
he got fired.
Yeah.
Honestly, there was a moment where I thought where you're going with that story was that the lesson is that next time I go to Vegas, I'm all in.
That is not what I'm talking about. That is not what I'm talking about.
Just kidding. Yeah, I I agree with that. You have to use what is given to you, and that's a tough thing for people. You know, people get stuck in the trap of when I get there, that's when this thing will start.
Or if I only had this, then everything would be better.
If I have that money, then I can start. Or when I get that guitar, then I'm gonna be a guitar player, and it just doesn't necessarily work that way.
You got to put the practice in. You can't just.
You got to practice without
stuff.
a guitar. That's a perfect metaphor.
Mentally practice.
That's probably the worst.
What's that you got
example?
there? Yeah, this is a piece of cardboard I cut out.
You know, it is true. Though. I mean,
I figured I wasn't gonna wait around till I got the real thing.
I can hear the music in my head.
do some Jimi Hendrix stuff.
I don't need it coming out. I can hear it in my head.
That was a terrible example that I used. But
I mean, it is kind of like that. I mean, so it's like a great guitar and a great equipment doesn't make a great player.
Right.
You know, it's the actual skill behind it and the actual like practicing that you have to do to get there. And so it's essentially the same thing. It's like you got to start out small, you know, with what you just have and get competent, good with that. Or maybe one day you get good enough where you get money from playing good enough a guitar that you could buy the better stuff.
Right, because those things are exactly what they are, is just tools. Mm-hmm. I mean, the better the tool, usually the better the quality, but none of it's going to sound good if you're not skilled
if
already.
If you're a bad player, it's going to sound worse.
It doesn't matter what guitar that you give me, it's going to sound bad when I start messing with the strings, all right? And so it doesn't really matter. And Jacob, the better the guitar, then it probably sounds even a little bit better.
And from most of what I've seen, it's those hardships that you're in that you're like, oh, well, whenever I get out of this, then I'll start. It's usually the hardships that you're in that makes you what you eventually
because it gives you the lessons that you're going to be able to succeed during that success or during that mountaintop experience or whatnot.
Yeah, so if you're waiting for that thing to end to get started, then it just doesn't work that way. That hardship that you're going through, the stuff that you persevere is what makes you uniquely you and nobody else you.
Yeah. And I think the other place in Scripture that you see this is Daniel 1, which I got to teach about on Wednesday. But Daniel's the same thing. He gets uprooted, kidnapped, taken to a new kingdom, and the only thing that he can control is his diet. He can't control the fact that he was kidnapped. He can't control the fact that his parents turned from the Lord, and he was in the noble family, royal family. They didn't follow the prophet's words, and so he gets yanked up, can't control that he got brought to this kingdom, can't control that he goes into this special academy for the Hebrew young men that were kidnapped to learn all the things that they're supposed to learn, but he can control his diet. And so they start to give him the food, and the king has his meat and his wine that's been sacrificed to idols. They put it in front of him, and he says, okay, you know what? I'm not going to defile my Lord with that. Because God has marked things that are unclean for me to eat as a Jewish young man, and so I am going to abstain from that, and he does, and he handles that, and God watches over him in that time, but still, he handled the small things that he could control. And sometimes, when you have a pandemic going on and an election and all these, you just handle what you can control. What you can do from day to day, you make sure that you follow what the Lord has for you in that, what his word says about his character and how he would respond to things, and that you carry that day in and day out. And that's all you can really do. And that's handling the small things well.
Yeah. Yeah, and starting where you're at. I mean, that's just the biggest point is that you just start now. You don't there's nothing coming that's going to give you this wave that will, push you all the way to be great at whatever you see yourself in the future, And maybe what you see as leadership now, as you progress towards something, that vision becomes a little bit more clear and changes. And so, the light that you're reaching for doesn't always stay in the same spot. You sort of go down different paths to get there.
Yeah.
But it's so important that you start where you're at and you use what you have.
All right. Well, that's our topic for today. Lead small, all right? Lead in the small things and then look for the bigger opportunities later as they come to you naturally. All right. Ben.
Lead small with Lee Smalls.
Lead small with Lee Smalls. There you
should have did that.
I think it's safe to
have a
say
topic
I
question.
absolutely hate the laugh track.
You guys.
All right.
We have a topic question.
We have a topic question
have
into
one.
our new segment. Topic question.
Topic questions.
There we go.
All right. So, when we have failed to lead small, how can we go about proving to others that we're now ready to lead small? So I assume after we failed doing something, how do you get back to that point where you can do that?
I'd like to take this one if you don't have one that
Go
you're
ahead,
ready to jump
go
in.
ahead.
All right, so I know, with me, I was asked by actually the special guest we had a couple weeks ago, Josh Clifton, and so Brittany and I had moved churches, and I was not in a good spot as far as spiritually and things like that, and I remember Josh approaching me and asking me if I would be a youth leader, work under him in the youth group, and I told him, just point blank, no, it's not going to be for me, not going to do that, I've got school and different things like that, I'm just not interested, and just very matter-of-factly about it, and so I figured he would be done with me. Well, come to find out, for the next 9 months, I think, he had been praying for me, and during that time, God really dealt with me heavily in some different things, but I remember when I had turned and God had dealt with me and I was just looking to serve, I remember the first thing I did, I got on the security team. Yes, I watched for your safety, all right, on the security team at Northwest. You're
Officer
welcome.
DJ.
Well, I rode around in a golf cart. I made sure nobody stole cars or came in with, or anything like that. I watched the premises outside church. I became a greeter, and I just did whatever it was that was offered up and that there was a need. And I just did that until the point that Josh came back to me and said, "Hey, I've been praying for you. Would you like to be a youth leader now?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm ready. If you'd still have me." And then the rest becomes history. I go in there, and God continues to use that time.
Came out.
Never left. And so, but that's really the thing is if you've messed up or if you've not led small well. Start leading now. Start doing it now. Find somewhere to get involved, even if it's for free, even if it's very low pay, whatever you need to do to make sure that you get yourself refocused, do it. And it may just be in a very small capacity, but once again, you show yourself faithful in small things, and then bigger opportunities are given to you.
Yeah, I agree there. I think along the same lines, that's where my mind went, is that it's only a failure, by your perceived definition of it. It's, there are some things that you could do that probably unanimously people would say, yeah, you failed at that.
Yeah. But failure is not the end all.
Exactly, and I think in most cases it gives more definition to your vision. Whatever you're going for.
Assess where you failed, assess why you failed, and then don't make the same mistake twice. And that's the thing is failure is a great teacher. Failure is something that honestly should be much more not sought after, but welcomed. And so if I fail, okay, now I just need to redirect and move forward again. And failure is never something that's actually made for us to stop us and to never do it again. No, you fail in school. The point is that you failed, that you'll redo it and then move forward to the next grade. You don't ever fail and then you never get to do anything else. It's only if you decide to quit at that moment in time. So allow failure to be the teacher and just move forward again.
I think there's a ton of examples of the idea that if you're not willing to be, you'll never become the master unless you're willing to be the fool. Like you kind of have to be a little bit
Confucius?
I don't know. But the idea is that you obviously you're going to be bad at something. I mean, why would you just start something that you've never done before and then be great at it? So failure is kind of inevitable, and you're going to hit bumps and all kinds of stuff along the way. There's just no way around that. So you have to be willing to fail to start something. And if failure discourages you so much that you don't think you want to do that anymore, I would really consider whether you ever wanted to do that in the first place.
I'm a book quoting fool today, and I'm going to quote another one. Randy Pausch says in the last lecture, said that brick walls aren't put up to keep you out. It's to determine how bad that you want something. And so I thought that was good.
In Dwayne Johnson, The Rock's autobiography, he said, if you believe in yourself, there's no matter what you can, if you can wake up at 4:30, and lift weights, then
do it.
You're not gonna be as strong as me, but you'll be probably pretty good. And that's that is an unofficial direct quote from Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
That's really good.
Failure is speaking a lot about failure, and something that's a failure. Strawberry ice cream is a failure. It is a failed flavor. I don't know who eats it.
That's a failed attempt at you trying to put a dessert in there. I'm gonna
if
you put that down.
To quote our chat here, we got to hit rock candy bottom before we can climb back up.
Oh, well, man, that's a good one.
That was really good. I was actually gonna read. I saw that one by Antola. That was funny. Yeah, to rock candy bottom. But in all honesty, I think sour flavors, from what I've grown to understand, is that soured flavors are by.
What are we even talking?
I'm talking about desserts still. Okay, so sour flavors.
Sour flavors.
They had to go bad at some point, right? And so why would anybody eat anything that had gone bad? That was a failure, and so they ate it, and then they're like, oh, maybe there's something good.
So the failure turned to a success.
There's something good from this failure. I can make sour warheads.
All right.
and that's a dessert.
Do you have to call warheads sour? Aren't they just sour by their very nature?
Yeah, aren't they just warheads? And then
Well,
are they dessert or are they a
Is
candy?
there not sour warheads?
I don't. I think warheads in general.
There's,
What are you talking about, Kel?
There's a mild version.
mild
See, me and DJ, this is a fun fact. We used to scrounge around the house for change
You got loose change.
to go to walk about 2 miles or so
Probably about 2 miles.
To-
We'd ride our bikes.
to a gas station. that
Very
had snow
sketchy
cones.
gas station by an abandoned prison.
They had snow cones, and we wanted eye popper.
Yeah, they had eye popper
Which was
spray
10 cents.
per spray.
Oh, no, I'm talking about in the snow cones.
Yeah,
remember?
yeah. 10 cents
Oh.
per spray.
Yeah.
Or
they
add in whatever it
Yeah,
was.
they would give you the add-in for the eye popper, and it was 10 cents. And I would
We
get
need to legitimately have at least
we
50
would get
cents
like
worth.
we would get like 50 cents to like $2 worth of this eye popper,
Yeah.
and it would just ruin us.
It was good, though. Well, I mean,
That was another mention of desserts, though, Ben. Make sure you put that down.
all right,
Quality's
Ben.
going down.
Any
Thank
more
you.
topic questions?
No more topic.
All right.
questions.
Well, that's a great
What?
segment. Let's move
Wow.
into our viewer questions. All right.
First
what we got?
question today.
All right.
Do you think penguins can fly?
I recently discovered that penguins are my second favorite animal.
Recently discovered.
Yeah, have you ever figured anything out about yourself,
Life's a
Ben?
journey, Ben.
Why don't you let me live my life,
No,
Ben?
you just decide that, like, that's
Life's
my
a garden.
favorite.
Dig it.
Anyways, so that's just something I found out about myself. What was the question?
Can they fly? Can penguins fly?
Can penguins fly? They can fly on land.
They can fly on land or
Yeah.
over land?
Well, have you ever seen Happy Feet?
It's like sliding.
Yeah.
It's like falling.
I mean, what's the difference between sliding on land and flying in the air?
because you're like sliding on the wind when you're like
So you're still
Flying.
sliding on something.
Yeah, you're still sliding,
you're still sliding
on
but-
something.
yeah, but it's the air, but not the.
Yeah, but it's sliding either way. man.
Legitimately, you're sliding
What
on
are we-
matter.
Well, I mean, a better analogy would be like they can swim in water, right? So like they're like flying almost water,
They fly, yeah.
Yeah, and in water.
Just in a
so
yeah,
I mean,
just in a different kind of air.
there's still oxygen
There's still oxygen.
and water.
Yeah. There's just
So,
some of that
Yeah,
H2
yeah,
in there
yeah,
as well.
yeah, some of that H2 in there as well. So
Huh? See what I did?
so
See what he
so
did there?
then. So can they fly? Is that?
Oh, can they fly? Yes, yeah. So yes, they can
Yeah.
fly
Alright.
on land.
Technically, yes.
Thank you.
Practically?
Practically?
You said technically, so I was saying practically because that's how you guess it.
It's a good
All right.
point.
We should just
Um,
stick to the
It's
question.
a good point, DJ. Did you practically? So you say something now. This is the part where you
Yeah,
respond to
just-
what I
yeah,
said.
That's how conversation works.
Yeah, most conversations with normal people. Get your mugs
right, so-
at the
6 Feet
website,
Pod.
6 Feet Podcast. Also, follow us on Twitter. Everybody here is we all write really funny things for the Twitter.
We don't all write anything on
Um,
Twitter.
All of us are
Well,
on an
that's only-
agreement.
You're the
all
only
of
one
us have
that
a,
writes
all of
anything
us
on
have
Twitter.
agreed. Okay.
You haven't even given me the password.
all
I
of
don't
us
even have a
okay.
Twitter.
All of us have agreed.
None of us actually
Right?
have a Twitter. 6 Feet Pod has a Twitter that
How
someone
about
made.
one person at a time? All of us have agreed that we're going to let me write the Twitter. We agreed on that. Now that's been settled. We don't need to bring it up again.
Nobody wants to deal
We
with.
agreed.
Look, no one uses
didn't
Twitter.
agree.
We
anything. We
came
don't
to
wanna-
an agreement when I made the Twitter account.
DJ.
The agreement was that we didn't want to argue with you about doing
I don't
the
know.
Twitter
I checked
stuff.
all the boxes.
DJ,
you know?
let's. No one uses Twitter. Let's just let him.
What are
have
the
this
terms
one.
of agreement?
You're the lawyer.
Exactly.
He's not a lawyer.
So
technically.
just trust
not
me.
yet,
or practically yet.
Trust me.
practically.
Just trust me. Because I'm about to start second year of law school. Who could be more correct about this? Nobody.
Maybe an actual lawyer.
Okay, well.
Well,
Second
here's
year of law school.
here's a lawyerish question. Would you rather look like a potato or feel like a potato?
I feel like I already look somewhat like a potato.
What would you rather feel like one?
They're very lumpy.
Well, a
Well,
lot of eyes too.
okay, but hold on. I don't know. Are you talking about would I
Physic-
rather
like
do I
starch
want
potato.
to feel the things that a potato feels, or do I want to feel like a potato?
I think
Like if you
like are you
felt,
feeling like the emotions
I would
or
feel like
like your skin would feel like a potato?
Let me just feel this potato head.
You feel pretty potato-y already.
So
The lump.
clarify.
That one feels like a potato.
I'm gonna take
Not a potato.
I'm gonna take my freedom here and say
Kel, who are you
That's
texting
to
over
feel
there? Hold on, I'm
emotionally.
confused. What are you doing over there, Kel? Are you? We're in a live show and our video guy is texting
said
in
yeah.
the middle of the stream. Kel is on the. How are you on the chat right now? We need you here.
Kale's in it. Kale's in
Why
it.
are you talking to Ben on the chat when Ben is literally right
I believe
there?
in everything you're doing, Kale. Okay,
just trying
Ben,
to win
I
host
need you to
votes.
clarify.
Alright,
do
so
I feel
I'm-
like a potato or do I feel that of a potato?
I'm gonna. So I've been given I think the
Potatoes
liberty
have
to
feelings.
decide on this. It's either or it's either one, but I'm gonna take the liberty to say to feel emotionally.
Yes,
like a potato.
exactly.
I think it's
emotionally.
feel emotionally or look
Yes.
emotionally.
Okay.
Like look physically.
If this is just me and I'm speculating and I don't know and I don't want to offend any potatoes out there,
Yep.
but
You don't want to offend a russet potato. I'm going to tell you that right now because those guys,
there's a serious
They-
struggle that potatoes go through. And it's concerning to me, and I don't know if I could handle that emotionally. Does that make sense? Have you ever seen a potato with the roots all growing out of it?
yeah, I mean, yeah, it looks like a potato, yeah.
I feel like that would.
Well,
hurt.
I mean, it had like a lot of roots, like game
yeah,
over.
it's going everywhere.
You're not eating this thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I have seen
I mean, although is that the goal? Is to not be
Where do the
eaten
roots come from?
or to be eaten?
I don't either.
Is the goal as a potato
Middle.
to be eaten, or is the goal to avoid being eaten?
Oh, you bring up a good point here, Ben. To be eaten or to, what was the other one?
Or not?
Or not to be
To
eaten.
be or not to,
To be or not to be.
That is the
That is
question.
the question.
I mean, but if you're going to be a sweet potato pie, I
Nobler
mean, that might
in
be
the
a reason to
mind.
be eaten.
to suffer the slings and arrows.
Are you kidding me right now? Would
of
you mark
outrageous
down the fact that I
fortune,
mentioned dessert?
or to
You're
take
not even picking up a pen.
arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing, end them?
To die, to sleep. No more.
The way that I see it is, I don't want to feel that of a potato. I commend potatoes across the world. I think that what they're doing is their sacrifice is huge.
Yeah.
And we don't want to overshadow that.
Yeah, I want
And-
rights for all potatoes.
But, however, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes.
Think of what I mean. You're in the dark. You're kept in the dark,
Yeah. Until all of a sudden,
and you get rooted
ripped
up, and the next thing you know,
Or
somebody's
in some
boiling
guy's
their
stew,
water
yeah.
to mash you.
or you're growing out of a tree and pull it out of the potato tree.
And let's just say the boiling doesn't harm you.
Yeah.
It just softens you. You feel like you get more in touch with your
Well,
feelings.
then you're
and then someone
then
comes
you're
And
conscious
smashes
through the
you.
whole thing. You're sitting there through a stew. What happens
Spreads
whenever
or a
butter
roast.
and salt and
You
pepper,
get-
and
you're
you
in
get
the
chewed
roast,
up and you're like,
digest you.
You're in the roast and it's getting slowly hotter on you. You know, the walls are cramped. Everything's, the water level is rising.
Let's not even bring up.
Do you think
the
that they
relationship
make-
between the roast and the potatoes?
do you think that they make friends
with their fellow.
in the stew.
Well, I mean, they
Like
all kind of seem to taste like each other.
Like
so
they
maybe,
see the
maybe they, like-
vegetables and they're like,
How long you been in the fridge?
I know.
Yeah, because potatoes are kept outside the fridge.
Yeah.
So does that mean they're better or they're worse
I
than the
keep
rest of the
potatoes in the.
vegetables?
Wait. Oh, potatoes are kept outside the fridge. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
We throw them in the crisp.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good point. And
is
you
that-
put them
are
in
the
a drawer, and they're always in a big bag.
They
and
like dry places.
So then, are they like the
you-
lesser race of vegetables? Like, are the ones that get kept in the fridge
Ben,
like better?
Are you serious right now?
No, I'm just asking.
Let's not get the show canceled because of your heinous comments towards potatoes.
I'm just asking,
lesser
how do
race
you-
of vegetables.
How do you think they feel about not being let in the fridge?
Cut him off,
Wow.
Libby? Just cut him off
I'm-
before we are.
Well, the thing that's tough to
That's
say.
not
That's,
the way that you sympathize.
that's
okay, you sound
difficult-
like a carrot right now.
Yeah, I think that you're
A
off
carrot
course
cake
here
is what
because
you sound like.
I do not think that putting anything in the
Back on.
fridge is
Back on.
preferential treatment. I think that avocados are way up there on the hierarchy.
See
of,
now,
of food people.
you hear that? I wasn't saying that.
Avocados are way up there, and we keep them out of the fridge so that they'll ripen.
Have you ever met an avocado way above potatoes?
Yeah. I mean,
It's double standards.
if you're just in your head, you're just assuming like there's some sort of hierarchy.
Avocado's not a vegetable
Where-
either, Ben, by the way.
so-
it's a fruit.
So
one
avocados
seed in the
way
middle.
up here, and potatoes way down at the bottom.
But on the vegetables, they're equal. Avocado, fruits, they're equal to fruits, but you know.
Yeah, they live a real tough life. A
All
real
right,
tough
we
life.
spent about 15 minutes on potatoes. We probably should move on.
All right, what's the
It's just
difference?
a very
between,
loaded topic.
I don't want to.
You know, it's a very. Never mind.
Hashtag save the
What is
potatoes.
the difference between AC and DC power?
Hold on. About the potatoes. What do you think? What do you think how
About
do you
sweet potato casserole. What do you think about sweet potato casserole?
Okay,
What's
that is
the-
not a dessert. So if you're trying to mark that down
No.
for yourself,
that's-
why do
no.
you want to know about sweet potato casserole?
That's rough. But candy
Good.
yams are my favorite.
That's not a dessert either. That is a Thanksgiving
Okay,
side.
no. Candy yams are a dessert.
That is-
Put that on
is
the
not a
board. Ben,
dessert. No, it's not.
Ben, put it on the board. Candy yams
No,
are
it's a
wonderful
Really?
dessert with mashed potatoes.
Hi.
With
hey guys, thanks for coming
marshmallows
over.
on
Yeah,
top
we're gonna
of 'em.
grill hamburgers out back, and then for dessert, I made candy yams. No one has ever said that ever.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna go even deeper.
They
I'm gonna
might say, "Hey, thanks for coming over. I got brownies for dessert."
No. Not only are candy yams a dessert, so are deviled eggs. Boom.
You are ridiculous.
No.
I don't
No,
even
no,
know
no, no,
why
no,
I
no,
continue
no, no.
to call you
This is-
week in and week out to come sit on the show.
You don't call me.
That is
The
exactly.
fans have decided.
They didn't even make you a shirt.
Well, that's because Ben, that's it's political, and I don't get involved in politics.
So about the potato. All right. What do you think? How do you feel like someone stumbled on the idea that potatoes were good? Because like boiling potatoes.
Well, I don't know. You're the one who said you feel a lot like a potato,
It
so why
was-
don't you explain? You're out of all of us, I think in that moment you related the most to a potato.
I don't appreciate
so
feeling like I'm being
you-
laughed at about how I feel on the inside and on the outside.
You know, I think
Well,
I think someone.
that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of. How does a potato feel? Please, DJ, tell us, how does a potato feel?
Rough on the outside, vulnerable on the inside.
Wow. You know, poor potatoes, like at least, bananas, avocados, these other vegetables, they've got shells. You know what I mean? Like a watermelon. Watermelon's shelled up,
Yeah.
but
Potatoes,
just out there.
the outside is just as weak as the inside, If you hit something, you're done.
And also, no one wants to just eat like a raw potato.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to.
That's what the question I'm trying to figure out is how
Yeah.
did they figure out that potatoes
Well,
were good
they
or,
tried
how to boil them?
I assume they tried to eat it like an apple, and they were like, "This is disgusting." And then
you
they
think
just
that like they went for like 1,500 years before they figured out they were good in some way?
well, yeah, I mean, I think they just threw them in some like boiling water. Like, oh hey, it's
You know what?
It's sustenance.
It probably happened
all right.
because
Took it and said, "I don't want this," and chunked it. And
Somebody-
landed in
Landed
a
in a
boiling
pot.
pot. Yeah.
somebody's failure is what made all of our delicious
There we go.
baked potatoes a possibility.
That's right.
It was probably baked.
You forgot about the. Gosh, get them out of the oven.
They probably
get them out of the oven.
They would have figured out about baked potatoes first because it just would have been like sitting there in the sun and they wouldn't have had to do anything. And then they went up to it and they're like, wow, this is kind of getting mushy.
And that's when hot potato was invented too. They picked it up and then they
Exactly.
tossed it and then it landed
Exactly.
on the ground.
Burst
and it
on-
burst and mashed
Exactly.
potatoes.
But
Some guy named
where
Jerry,
did
probably.
Mr. Potato Head come from?
Well, they have eyes already.
I mean, honestly, you really want to know how people really see potatoes? Look at Mr. Potato Head.
Honestly, I feel like
You
I
can
am
change his
looking at Mr.
feelings.
Potato
You
Head.
can- That was hurtful.
Also, but you know what else?
good, wasn't
You know what else? We mean people do to potatoes. We make them into clocks. We suck all of their power out of them and make them into like clocks for our science fair projects.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you're the only weirdo in this room, Ben.
Yeah.
That turned a potato into a clock.
No, like you can like put like the little metal things in
Hey,
there and
guys.
then like
Oh, sure.
come on, like,
Sure.
hey, all right.
Hey guys.
don't-
I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one who's gone to a science fair and seen that. There's
Huh?
no way.
You're definitely the only one in this room who's gone to a science fair.
Y'all never went to school science fairs?
No, we didn't go to the school science
No.
fairs.
What?
No.
That's ridiculous.
I don't think our school had science fairs.
Do you think Ben showed his girlfriend his potato clock on like date 1?
Check this out. Potato clock.
Okay. That looks cool, Ben.
No, I was
No,
trying,
it tells time for real.
I was trying to defend the potatoes.
Didn't you see this
saying,
at the?
how did they feel
then he
about
said,
that?
"Didn't you see this at the science fair?" And then she said, "No, nobody ever has ever been to a science fair." And then Ben said,
And then he reaches up and hides his blue ribbon. Puts it back.
"He said, yeah, nobody's been to a
always-
science
Yeah, that's
fair."
ridiculous. I
I
saw it on
always
YouTube
failed
once.
science fairs.
You failed the science fair? Don't you have to
Yeah.
pass something to get to the science fair?
No,
Just
I
from what I've
thought-
heard.
No, you got to make a project, and I never did the project.
Oh.
That's why I never made
okay.
this. That's why I never made the potato clock because I never.
Way too late. It's way too late at that point. We're so far past
You
it.
gotta read it.
Oh,
Okay.
I've been notified that the eyes on potato are called probes. So
The eyes on a potato?
yeah, like the little like.
I don't feel like we should go into that one.
Probe. Okay, next question, Ben.
All right.
You know the thing
What's-
about potatoes, though, that I find most interesting about the probe situation? Like, how do they get eyes and probes, and how do they the same?
Yeah, how does someone get one thing and the
Yeah.
other person gets another? I think there's sciencey words that other people use to make us all sound
Sciencey
sound
You
dumb.
mean scientific?
Yeah, there's
Okay.
there's scientific word that scientists use to make us feel
Sciencey.
dumb, but they're not any smarter.
Scienter.
We gotta record Ben saying, yeah, those are sciency words, and
Yeah.
then use that as a button. Those are sciency.
Sciency.
It's very sciencey.
Scienter.
That's why you're never gonna hear it again, DJ. Thank you.
Oh, we're gonna hear it again.
Next question.
All right,
please.
what's the difference between AC and DC power? Just to, I guess they need help with.
I think you need both for when you plug them into the potato to make the clock run.
Oh,
So-
I've actually just been notified.
So DC is
Again,
direct current and
that-
AC is
It's alternating current.
alternating
Oh wow,
current.
you really
so
knew that one. I didn't know. I thought it was a band.
Do what?
No, you got to
thought it
go
was a
back and
band.
black.
What's the difference between AC and what's the difference between AC DC power and
It's like these are these two guys, and they play those instruments.
yeah.
And then these are DC over here.
I know,
and they
like-
sing and do that
like,
instrument.
I know one of the two powers can like kill you. Like one of the two, like AC or DC, can like just
I think it's direct current, right?
yeah direct
Because
current.
direct current would shoot. No, actually, I think
Sounds
wait,
violent.
it might
What?
be the other way around.
So I know like on a light switch or like on like a an outlet, right? if you just like stick like a metal fork in there, like sparks and stuff.
Yeah.
But like the little thing that you put into it, like the
Do you know from experience or just from?
Oh no, I've had children.
Well, the alternating.
children
No, I've had children that have been at my house.
that have
because
been
my
at
parents'
your
friends-
house. Okay.
yeah,
Congratulations on your children, Ben.
It's really cool.
That's
I
fantastic.
didn't know. Crazy.
That's fantastic.
Started out a little young, but
So
we support you.
yeah, so electricity is always
little potato
it's
babies.
all trying to get down, right? So the direct current is trying to get down, and the alternating is what keeps it right. And so
It's
the
like a
direct current is
helicopter.
what you get whenever you get shocked, because the electricity tries to use whatever it can to get down. It's trying to get
Why
ground.
is it trying to get down?
I don't know. That's just the way it goes.
Get up,
This
get
one's-
down.
I don't know. So that's why
Um,
if you
It's kinda
were
like-
if
doesn't
you
make
were
sense.
really shocked,
Kind of like an upside down cake.
so whenever you get really hit, it tries to escape out of. You'll see people it'll
and
come out of their
yeah.
feet. So people who get shocked really hard.
Where do you
And that-
guys see these
and that's why-
things?
and that's
I've
why
never
lightning-
walked down the
It'll
street.
shoot
and that's
out of
why
their feet.
lightning and like thunder and stuff goes down.
Yeah, it strikes down because
Thunder?
electricity is always trying to get.
You
Well,
didn't
I'm
realize
sorry.
thunder is the
Yeah, thunder is the sound. I'm sorry. I'm
It's very
sorry.
sciencey of you.
Lightning.
I hope that no
Gosh,
master
man.
electricians are watching this show.
Oh, okay. So apparently it's AC that wants to get that will kill
I
you.
don't know what's wrong
'Cause
with
apparently
your house right now. I don't know if
That
it's
is
the
someone shooting an
electricity or if
elephant
it's the
with AC.
the thunder that I'm bringing. your, your thunder is totally out right now. Sorry. Oh man,
Ben, I am
Yeah.
so glad you're on
I don't
the
know.
show. Most days.
AC/DC power is more like
Thunder. Wait, no, wait. Wait, no, there's Thunderstruck by AC/DC. Remember?
Oh yeah. Oh
pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Whichever.
Is that
way.
our
Are you gonna
already
catch it?
opened one?
Yeah, I'm gonna catch it.
I feel like that one's already opened.
So I need it. All right. Ooh.
Next question,
almost did
Ben. Next question.
Last one.
Last one?
Yep.
All right. Well, I didn't have this one prepared, so now I gotta go find it.
What do you mean you got?
All right.
What do you mean you didn't have it prepared?
Hey, we normally do 3 questions, and now we're doing apparently 4.
What's the?
No,
did we-
this is definitely
Well,
the third
okay,
one.
actually, we did. Can penguins
Oh,
fly?
the penguins.
then-
Okay.
Oh, I thought-
All right,
then
all right, Ben.
Counting-
All
we're
right.
counting the
We
topic.
get
question.
it. We will move
The
on.
topic question
Ben.
is a different segment. We've been over.
No, we did
this.
penguins can fly potato question, and then
Oh,
they-
ACDC.
yeah, he's
okay.
he's right on one of the
course I'm
rare
right.
times. All right, well, let's move on. This brings us to our next segment, which you guys all love, and we always love hearing about it. He's gonna get warmed up, but this is Jake's take.
Jake's take. I need you on the button, Libby. I need you ready for it. Thank you. Jake's take today. Today, there's a couple things that I'm super passionate about that we're gonna dive right into head first. I do not want to. These things are really. What do you remember the things? I had. Did I send them to you? Maybe I put them. I couldn't.
What was it?
Uh,
Weren't you passionate?
Yeah, well, yeah.
First-
I've been thinking about these
All right.
things all week, and I'm really fired up, and I really wanted to I really wanted to
Okay.
I'm gonna put my foot in the sand about this stuff. What
Okay.
exactly were they?
First one is rivers.
Rivers? No, of course rivers. So the
They go down.
Jake's yes. So like electricity, they go down. They go down. Good point, Ben. Although probably my idea, I just sort of put it out there, and you kind of vacuumed it up, like sort of like a black hole. So Ben sort of his thought process is probably like a black hole that takes ideas from everybody else and uses it as his own. But rivers, we went to the river this past weekend. and we jumped off a thing into the good part of the river. We're gonna move on to and that's Jake's take.
That's Jake's take.
Number 2, topic
Jake's
number.
take.
Okay, topic number 2. Something I really wanted to get into is school. Everybody knows we're back at school, and everybody knows that the hardest part about going back to school is getting all your back to school gear. And there's something I wanted to bring up. Look at that. That's ridiculous.
That wouldn't
all right. That is a book that is way too big. And so I wanted to make a point today on Jake's Take to tell all these professors and teachers, don't make your book that big. Just
Ain't nobody got time for that.
exactly. Don't make your book that big. All of the words and thoughts that I've ever had since I existed wouldn't fill up this book.
They're all
okay?
up here. They're all up here.
I could take It's
a big book.
I could take everything I've ever said or thought or done, and I could write it all down, and it would be about that. Maybe.
Still a pretty big book for your thoughts.
Maybe. Okay. Well, I've done a lot. I mean, I'm impressive. And everybody's talking about I can see
Still
them in the
need-
chat
need
room
to take
here.
up half
They're all
that
talking
book.
about it. This is ridiculous. Who is talking this much? If you meet this person, I don't know what the book is. I don't call out the writer. But if you meet this person, he or she is talking too much. All right? Guarantee it. Look at that. That's too much.
We have a real laugh
So
track now. We have a real
That's
studio
Jake's take
audience.
on part number 2.
Jake's take.
Part number 3.
Jake's take.
Thank you. Remember, we need more. You need to fire it up.
Jake's sake!
Thank you. I need
Jake's
more.
sake!
Exactly. Thank you. So, number 3, and we talked about this last week, is Twitter. I'm building an
That is
army.
not.
I'm going to go ahead and say it because everybody here knows it. I'm building an army. I
Cue the
need
outro music. Just
I need
cue the outro music.
everybody
Just
to
start.
Army for
join
what?
me in my.
Is this a literal army or a
If-
social army?
It is an actual army, and we are the hashtag Jacob4Host army. Okay,
Please, no!
that's
No!
the opposite of where I wanted to go with that.
I'm sure
That's
she
the
just hit the
opposite.
wrong button.
She probably hit the wrong one. Go on there. I need all the support I can get, guys. I see you in the comments. I know you're listening. You have to go to Twitter. You have to be my friend on Twitter, and then you have to
just start the
post
outro music,
things
guys.
about hashtag Jacob4Host, hashtag remove Ben's arms, hashtag GoFundMe for Gary Pope. All of these things, these are pressing issues. These are things we need to raise awareness around, and we cannot get them out there if you are not screaming at the top of your lungs. So if I want to propose to everybody, whatever you have had planned in your life, to change it at this moment to
That
to
is fairly
spend
drastic.
the rest of your time screaming at the top of your lungs about how I need to be the host of this show. We need to remove Ben's arms and
Okay.
and,
If for
and
no
the
other
last one is
reason-
that DJ owes Gary Allen Pope a significant amount of money. So we
I
need
don't
to,
owe him anything. He owes the Randall guy money.
No. Well, yeah, I know, but I'm saying that you need to find him, or
No.
else you should pay for
What?
Gary.
I don't even know who Gary.
No, Gary.
Flynn Pope
well,
is.
know him or not, he's family. So,
It's not my. If he's my family, then he's your family.
how many popes are there?
I don't know. There's 5 in my household, and there's 2 in Texarkana.
I know
and
there's one pope.
4 in Colorado, and that's it.
There's typically
Yeah.
one pope.
Yeah, exactly. It's
And
super
none of
rare.
them's named are Gary.
Super rare name. Nobody has that name. If
There's plenty of people that have that name.
you know what, we need all the popes to come forward because we've got an issue on our hands.
Literally going to be thousands.
I think next week we need to reach out to Mr. Randall, and we need to get him back
you
on the
wanna
show.
Call that guy again. How do we even reach
Yeah, how are
him?
we gonna reach Randall?
Actually, he's probably watching. Randall, I guess you could call
on
in
one of
again
his
if you'd like to.
throwaways.
Randy, we're talking to you here, direct and live. We need
Hey,
you on the
Randall.
show. We need to get to the bottom of this Pope situation. I feel like
Kinda
maybe
like
it's
how you're at
not.
the bottom of your basement.
It's not just a debt from Gary Pope. It's a debt for all
That's
the popes.
ridiculous. All right. Well, if no other reason, follow us on, follow him on Twitter
there is
at
another
6 Feet
reason.
Pod to see
Many reasons. Scream at the top
the
of your
incoherent
lungs.
rambling of his posts.
Jacob for host.
And then also some reminders
Jacob
about when the
for
show is.
Host. Jacob for host. Jacob for
And
host.
that's Jake's take. That's
With a cherry on top, like a cherry limeade.
Okay, well, thank you for joining
I said
us
cherry
today.
limeade.
We
Did you
are
put that one on the board, Ben?
cherry limeade is a Sonic drink.
That is a dessert drink.
That is not a drink.
Yes,
That
it
is not a.
is.
Do not mark
Kind of
that
like
down.
their ocean water.
Ocean. Okay, you just
No,
continue to
that's
say
not-
these
that's
drinks,
not counting,
and none
no.
of them are counting.
Okay, well. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, yeah,
We've gotten
sure.
to the point.
It's probably not as good as their.
Stop. The competition's
No,
done.
stop,
We are done.
stop.
Stop. You're not gonna all of a sudden ramble through a
You see
song
what's
that's gonna give
happening?
you about 50 desserts.
See what's happening
okay?
here? I'm getting.
All right.
I'm getting pushed over to the
Final
side.
Okay.
final score.
All right.
All right,
What do we got?
DJ, you had 3. Jacob, you had 3.
Not true.
I had 4.
Not true.
What?
And-
Not true.
And
Thank
and
you.
one of-
Thank you, Libby.
Libby, what do you have, Libby?
Yes.
I still
Hey,
think your
no,
results
hey,
are
hey,
ridiculous.
no. You don't count that one at the beginning by DJ,
What?
or you don't count the one at the beginning by you, or the
I
two
don't.
at the end
Hey,
by Jacob.
Well,
We-
I
we-
like Libby's number better than your number.
we know how to
I
count.
don't like
right?
Libby's result or your result, and so I'm
This is
gonna
just
I'm gonna push this
another-
back to the viewers to go ahead and to recount.
This
all
is
right?
just
I
another
think
reason
Libby was confused. I mean, she
why
hit
we
wrong
should
buttons at times. And she's
hashtag
still using the laugh
remove
track, so we can't trust her
Ben's
fully.
arms. We got to get rid of those
Ben
arms.
All right,
He's
and
obviously
long
but
arms.
the
he's
winner-
obviously not
Not
using his
moving
But wait,
hands
hold
for
on, hold on.
counting.
For
That's
the-
for sure.
I'm not the
Very well.
winner.
He's
I'm
not
not the
using
winner.
his hands for counting.
I'm not. There's another.
There's literally
there's
3
another.
of us.
I agree with.
And
I
Tola
know where you're going.
and Tola
I
from the
agree.
chat
She is on
has a solid
fire, or he.
9.
I don't know if it's a he or she.
I think it's
Had a solid 9 or like more. Good.
It's actually really good.
Yeah.
I've been looking at it. It's really good
So
stuff.
Intola wins.
And Tola wins this time.
All right, we're gonna give it to one of our viewers this time. Intola, you are our competition champion for desserts. Good job. All right, I guess I'll go read all of your comments later. All right, so that brings us to the end of our show. Thank you for joining in. Don't forget to go to 6feetpod.com. Also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and I guess Twitter. And then subscribe to us on YouTube as well. And don't forget, if you didn't catch the show or you don't want to watch it all or you're driving, download the audio version on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, or Podbean, which is where we exclusively load them up at each week. And that should be available sometime tomorrow. Other than that, Ben, you got anything to add? Ben, are you texting now?
With
What is
both-
No,
what is going on?
I'm
Favorite
doing
host.
chat things.
We have
okay.
got a legitimate
Host
show right
number
now.
1,
I was doing
Mr. Pope. Host number 2.
You are not
Jacob.
host number 2.
We're
Can
both-
we get this straight, okay? First of all, Sunday at 4:30, we do a show here
I
in
think
case you
that-
all forgot.
I think Intola and I could do the show without you guys.
It doesn't even make sense because my name is on the logo.
Well,
If I'm not even here,
logos are super easy to make. I don't know.
you don't
I mean,
even know how to use Photoshop.
Well, I don't know
Okay.
what Photoshop is, but
It's usually a logo maker. It's
That's
a fairly good.
that's
Whatever.
insane.
Okay, we're
I'm
we're
talking
not
about
going to get into
drawing.
this.
I'm talking
we're
about
not gonna get
paper. I
into
did-
this. We're finishing.
I did arts and crafts in
All right,
in
we're
school.
done. Libby.
I did arts and crafts. I
Oh,
know.
you failed
Sure
arts
you
and
did.
crafts.
Yeah,
Don't
you
even
failed
start
it.
with me over there, Mr. Texter, Mr. Science
Ben,
Fair guy.
Can't count to 4, Ben.
My arms, they're just too long. They're getting in my way.